Okay, so are you getting my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see, last time we discussed about the construction of transformer and its few parameters like input output voltage, input output current, and accordingly one more term we discussed, and that was the SWG, that is standard wire gauge used for primary and secondary, right? So last time we concluded SWG of primary, it is somewhat high number as compared to secondary, and the reason was what I told. The reason, the secondary current is greater than primary current. That means the secondary wire, it should have somewhat more thick as compared to the primary, and the numbers given are opposite. That means last time also we discussed about the 45 SWG and 18 SWG wire. So 45 SWG wire, it is thin as compared to 18 SWG, 18. Okay. So that thicker wire, it is mostly preferred for the secondary winding, right? Because that secondary current is more. Again, one more term we discussed, and that was the reflected load resistance towards the primary side, right? So that reflected load resistance or the primary resistance, actually it is not there, but it gets reflected from secondary to primary, and the value of that reflected load resistance, it is dependent on the load resistance connected to the secondary as well as the turns ratio of primary with respect to secondary, that is N1 by N2 and its square. So all these things last time already we discussed, and again we want to waste our time on the same. So the next term we'll see, and that is nothing but the power. Power of primary. Remember, if you have notebook and pen, so you can note it. Power of primary, that we will going to indicate as P1 is equals to the power of secondary. Okay. Power of primary, it is equals to power of secondary, that is P1 equals to P2, or you can write PP equals to PS. Okay. So see what that power primary equals to power of secondary indicates, as the primary voltage we are considering the step down transformer right now. So for step down transformer, generally primary voltage is taken how much? V1 is how much generally? We are taking it.
230 volt.
Yes, it is of 230 volt. And if we consider the example of 12 volt transformer, that means the secondary voltage that will be of 12 volt RMS. Whenever we will going on to power the primary by 230 volt RMS, as it is a step down, this secondary obtained voltage will be 12 volt. That is the meaning. Again, how much will be the frequency of secondary signal or secondary voltage? Will remain same, will get step down, will get increase, or
Step
will be
down.
zero? Or will be zero? What do you think?
Step down.
I am asking about frequency, huh?
Sir,
Frequency of
same rate frequency.
what?
Same.
Yes, remember there is no change in frequency. That means first thing you have to remember, transformer is not converting AC signal to DC signal. It will just going on to change the level of primary voltage to secondary voltage, or that primary to secondary voltage may get remain. That is known as isolation transformer. To provide the isolation between two circuits, that isolation transformers are mostly preferred, and in that isolation transformers, the number of turns of primary and secondary are equal. That is N1 equals to N2, and that's why the obtained secondary voltage is equals to the applied primary voltage. But there is again no physical contact between primary applied signal and the obtained secondary signal, and that's why it is known as a isolation transformer. Are you getting? And if it is step up transformer, then the secondary voltage is greater than the applied primary voltage, right? So for any transformer, you have to remember power at the primary terminal, it always remains equals to power at the secondary if it is an ideal transformer. Okay, but practically that P1 is slightly greater than P2, or the primary power, it is somewhat greater than obtained secondary. What may be the reason according to you? Ideally P1 equals to P2, but practically P1 is slightly greater than P2. Means what? What do you think?
सर ते लॉसेस मुळे पॉवर कमी होऊन
Yes,
जाते.
yes, 100% correct answer. See, generally we are considering it is a lossless device, but there are few losses like you might have studied like a copper loss, ED current loss, etc. Is it? Actually, we are trying to minimize it by using that coils of purely copper wire as well as the stamping, which I shown last time, this sixth step. See, it is already there. These are known as the stampings, which are used to minimize the ED current losses, right? But it is there, it is not zero. Okay, so as that losses are somewhat non-zero, therefore the primary consumed power from the main supply, it is somewhat or slightly greater than the obtained secondary power, right? Now we will see about the efficiency of transformer. Generally, what is efficiency? Efficiency is nothing but obtained output divided by applied input. So simple, right? Either in terms of, if it is a voltage source, you can write the efficiency of that source as output voltage divided by input voltage. Or if it is a current source, then output current divided by input current, like this. Okay. So the generally efficiency, it is of 100%, we can say. Whatever power we are applying to the primary side, the same gets delivered across the load by that secondary. But again, as already we discussed, the secondary power is slightly less than primary power. That means for for practical transformer, the efficiency will not going to remain as 100%. Okay, so whatever somewhat less efficiency we are obtaining, that is due to the losses across that transformer. Okay, now see why I am taking this topic in detail, because few people from your side may be interested as an entrepreneur after your graduation, right? So I will suggest those who want to start their small scale unit or startup, they can start from the manufacturing of transformers. So you can think in this way also. You might have seen so many our electronic circuits, and almost in all electronic circuits, such type of transformers are used. Now, first thing you have to remember, transformer is not like this only, which is shown in the seventh step. There are so many different transformers, which are known as that ferrite core transformer, also known as high frequency transformers. They are mostly used in SMPS. Whatever mobile charger we are using, that is type of SMPS. It is SMPS, switch mode power supply. So if you open the mobile charger, you will observe one small device just looking like a transformer. It is actually a transformer, but it is somewhat different than that of conventional transformer. Okay, so the transformer used in that SMPS, it is known as a high frequency transformer, right? So once you will think to be an entrepreneur and to start your business or manufacturing from this device, you can manufacture multiple types of transformers, not only whatever I told or we discussed here. That means you can manufacture that IFT also, that is intermediate frequency transformers, which are used in the tune amplifiers, that is our radio receivers. Similarly, already I told you can manufacture that high frequency transformers also, ferrite core transformers, etc. And again, one more transformer, again, you might have seen, and that is nothing but at the welding workshop. It is step up transformer, right? So everywhere such type of transformers, either step down or step up or isolation transformers, are used. That means the need of this transformer is very high. So you can think in that way also, and that's why I try to create just the interest what is actually transformer, and that's why I conducted this topic somewhat in detail. Okay, so all these things already we discussed. Now we'll switch to another type of transformer, and that is known as a current transformer. Is it visible to all my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So remember, current transformer, it is somewhat different than that of voltage transformer, or that voltage transformer is also known as a PT, potential transformer. So in general or in industries, these transformers are mostly uh, called as CT and PT. CT stands for current transformer, PT stands for potential transformer. Okay. Now see again, the manufacturing of this current transformer is also very simple. Again, there is one bobbin. It may be either ferrite core or it may be of insulating material like a plastic, on which a number of turns of copper wires are given, and for external connections, one will be a start terminal of that copper wire and another one will be the end terminal. So only two terminals are there for CT, right? And later on, for the protection purpose of that wounded coil on that bobbin, it is just wrapped with the either insulating tape or the paper. Okay. Now, how it works? So see, just consider the power line which we are using in our or at our house. Okay. That supply, it comes from MSCB. Then first of all it enters into the meter, and later on after meter there is fuse or MCB, and then that main line it is circulated throughout the throughout in our house, right? So just imagine at the input of that meter or just at the output of meter, there will be one single wire for live terminal or for live, is it? So the rod which here it is shown in this figure with the arrowhead, this rod is nothing but that live wire. So it is simply passed through the bobbin of this CT, right? Whenever we will going on to drive the load in our house, like TV, fan, then mixer, grinder, whatever it may be, right? So as you will go on to increase or will go on to operate more and more appliances, that means the current flow through this wire, it will get increased. Am I right? At the live terminal, the potential available is of 230 volt RMS. But uh, just see, if all our appliances are in off state or turn off, how much will be the current passing through this shown rod? This is nothing but the live wire. It will be ideally, minimum means ideally it will be zero, right now. So no current will going on to flow. And when no current will going on to flow through this wire, that is live wire, there will be no flux generated around this wire, right? And when there will be no flux around this wire, there will be no linkage of flux to this secondary wire. This is nothing but actual secondary. There is no primary to the CT. Primary itself is acting as what? That is the power line. Are you getting it? That power line itself acts as a primary, and whatever number of turns mounted on that bobbin, it is acting as a secondary wire. Okay. So when we will going on to turn on one by one appliance, like first of all, if we turn on the TV, right? Later on, suppose fridge is turned on. Later on, washing machine is turned on. What will going on to happen? As this power line, all appliances are connected in parallel with respect to that live and neutral, parallel to live and neutral. So remember, whenever you will going on to turn on the appliances one by one, the amount of net current flowing through this wire, it will get increased. That means what we can say, current flowing through the primary, in this case, it will get increased, and as current flow increases, the generated flux also gets increased around that wire. And whenever that generated flux gets increased, it will get absorbed by the secondary winding, which is wounded on that bobbin, and hence there is a flow of current through the secondary winding. Now remember, one law is there. That law says that what? Whenever current flows through the coil, a flux gets generated around that coil. Or if a coil cuts the flux a current gets induced in the coil, right? So you have to remember this thing over here, right? So what I'd explain, when primary current will get increased, flux also gets increased around that wire. That means induced flux in the secondary wounded on that bobbin, it also will get increased. That means the amount of flow of current in that secondary also will get increased. And that we are calling it as a secondary current, IS. See, primary current conductor, that will depend on how much load is connected across that primary with respect to neutral, and accordingly generated flux will get differ, and accordingly generated current in that secondary it will get changed. Are you getting it? See, the same thing, it is shown in this symbol. This is nothing but the secondary winding, just like a helix or that coil, and a single conductor is shown which is acting as a primary. Is it clear? So mostly that current transformers are available in the market, like 10:1 transformer. So 10:1 indicates what? Whenever there will be a 10 ampere of current to the conductor, which is acting as a primary of this city, the induced current in the secondary, it will be of 1 ampere. Is it okay? Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
10:1 CT means what? Whenever there will be a 10 ampere of primary current or primary conductor current, the induced current in the secondary, it will be of 1 ampere. Means the generated flux totally it will not going on to link with the secondary or the coil which is wounded on that bobbin, and that's why the current flowing it is of 1 amp. Now that will depend on again number of turns of that secondary winding, right? So if we are using 10:1 transformer and the actual flow of current to that primary conductor is 5 ampere, that means we turn on only our television set and the washing machine, and when that washing machine is in working state, it will going on to consume somewhat high power. That means the consumed current by that washing machine, it will be very high, right? So we'll imagine during this condition, this primary conductor current, it will be of 5 ampere. So how much will be the secondary current? Transformer use is of 10:1.
0.5 ampere.
Yes, 0.5 ampere, or we can say 500 milliamperes. Is it? Now, how it is to be indicated? That flow of current currently it is of 500 milliampere or 0.5 amperes. What do you think? First of all, we have to convert this secondary induced current into voltage, right? And whenever we will going on to convert that current into voltage, now we can sense that voltage waveform, and according to the RMS value of that voltage waveform, our DMM indicates that current in terms of voltage, and it is converted again or displayed again in terms of current. Okay, so remember generally the secondary coil with open terminals, it is not preferred. Okay, otherwise there will be a saturation across the secondary whenever there will be non-zero flow of primary current. So across secondary, mostly one small resistor it is connected. That means here the ammeter is shown. Instead of ammeter, just one simple a small resistor, small value resistor, it is connected, and then across that resistor the voltage drop is measured. For example, again see, suppose I connected 1 ohm resistor across the secondary, right? 1 ohm resistor is connected across the secondary, and I have to measure the voltage drop across that resistor. I can measure it by using DMM, but that DMM it should be on AC measurement, because whatever current will going on to flow through the secondary, that current will be RMS current. That 500 milliampere, it is a AC current, because primary current is AC, right? Because this is a AC power line, 230 volt RMS power line. and due to that, whatever current will flow through the conductor, it will be AC in nature with 50 hertz frequency, we can say. So the similarly induced current in the secondary, it will be of 50 hertz. That means it will be alternating current, and as roughly we calculated it, it is of 500 milliampere. So that 500 milliampere, it is the RMS value of the secondary current. So that 500 milliampere current, when it will going on to pass through the connected resistor across that secondary, which is of 1 ohm, how much will be the voltage drop across that 1 ohm resistor? It will be simply 500 millivolt. Yes or no? Voltage drop across R, that is nothing but V equals to IR, right? We have to calculate how much will be the drop across that 1 ohm resistor, right? So if it is of 1 ohm, then current passing through that 1 ohm is how much? 500 milli. So 500 milli into 1, that is 500 milli. And unit for the drop, voltage drop, it is of volts. That's why voltage drop occurred across that 1 ohm resistor. It will be of 500 millivolts. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Now suppose we have only voltmeter available with us. There is no current meter. There is no DMM. Only galvanic type voltmeter is available. And if anybody asks you, can you measure the current flowing through the, can you measure the current by using current transformer or CT by using voltmeter, galvanometer? Voltmeter cannot be used as a current meter, right now. You might have seen that needle type galvanometers, and it is of voltmeters. Okay. So what you will do, you have to simply just connect one small resistor, just I explained, like 1 ohm, and connect that voltmeter across that resistor R. There will be a deflection, and that deflection will be equals to how much? 500 millivolt. That galvanometer, voltmeter, will going on to measure that voltage at the 500 millivolt. Now that resistor you connected across the secondary, and that's why you are familiar with the value of that resistor, how much of it is. As I told, if it is of 1 ohm, then by simple calculation you can convert that measured voltage by that voltmeter, galvanometer, in terms of current also. So what you will do, simply you have to do the reverse calculation. The measured voltage, that is voltage drop across that 1 ohm resistor is 500 milli. That means the current flowing through that 1 ohm resistor is how much? So I equals to V by R. V is 500 millivolt divided by 1 ohm. Your answer will be 500 milliampere. That's all. Are you getting it? So simply by using voltmeter, you can measure the current flowing through the current transformer, CT, by using this simple trick. Just connect one small resistor. Now again, one more thing which is most important, why I am saying small resistor across the secondary. Can we use 1 kilo ohm resistor?
सर मग करंट फ्लो नाही होणार त्याच्यातनं.
Why? Your answer is 100% correct again. But why? Okay, you might not be familiar with that. I will just explain you. See, the source is what? It is a secondary coil, right? So this secondary coil, AC source, current source, it is not that much strong current source. That much not strong current source means what? It is not capable to drive the current with through the resistor, which is greater than that of its own impedance. That means coil resistance. See again, as I told, it is simply a copper wire. A number of turns are given. If you measure end-to-end resistance of that wounded wire on that bobbin, will it be 0 ohm? No, it will not be 0. It will be non-zero because that copper also have some resistance, right? And if this copper wire is of 10 meters, which is used to give the turns of, for example, 1000 number of turns on that bobbin. So whatever wire you use for that 1000 number of turns, that is copper wire, will have its own resistance, right? If the own resistance, but that own resistance will be very small, as it is a copper material right now. And see, if its own resistance is somewhat less than that of the resistor connected across it. Now this coil, it is acting as what? It is acting as a current source to have the current through that connected load resistor across it. Okay, so if the connected resistance, that resistor have the resistance greater than that of the coil resistance, then this current source will not going on to pass the maximum current through that R, connected R. And that's why the connected R, it should be somewhat less than that of the coil resistance used for the secondary winding. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all these things you will require in our third assignment. That's why I am explaining in detail. During that third assignment, I will just going on to say you use the CT over here and do that signal conditioning. That's all. I will review it, no doubt, but not going on to discuss in detail because already today we discuss it, how that CT will go on to work or how it is to be used. Now, just imagine whatever CTPT we discussed, can we call both these two devices as a sensor? I will go on to switch to somewhat different topic now. Currently, see, we discuss about the transformer, step down transformer, and generally we are saying it is used to step down the AC voltage for the next application. Okay, but only to step down, this is not the application of that step down transformer. Similarly, whatever CT just we discussed, it is not the application only to sense or only to step down the current. I have to measure the current, how much is the current flowing through that conductor or primary. So my question is, can we call these two devices as a sensor? You might have heard this word, sensor. I think your mechatronics subject is also going on, na? In that mechatronics, number of sensor transducers you will going on to study. But at this stage, can you call that CT or PT as a sensor? What do you think? Remember, we can call both devices as a sensor, right? Sensor means what? Okay, again imagine there is one microcontroller. By using microcontroller, you have to measure the applied voltage to the particular load as well as current consumed by the particular load. Topic is somewhat vast, but I will just explain in short. See, by using step down transformer, what I will do, for example, suppose one fan is connected to our power line, and whenever it is operated at speed 1, how much is the current consumed by that fan? When it is operated at position second speed, there will be increase in current. Voltage will not going on to increase. Remember, whatever regulators are used to change the speed of fan, we are not changing the applied voltage to the fan. We are changing the current pass to the fan. So motor speed, it is directly proportional to the motor current. This thing you have to remember. Okay. So by using regulator, we are changing the amount of current passed through the coil of that motor, which is used in that fan. Okay. So at speed 2, 3, 4, 5, like this, how much is the change in current that you have to measure by using microcontroller. So what you will do, as well as how much voltage you are applying, which will not going on to change, it will remain constant. That also you have to measure by using your microcontroller and how to display on that 7-segment display or LCD display. Okay. So what you will do, you have to, first thing, you can't connect that 230 volt RMS directly as a input, any one input to your microcontroller. Are you agree with this? That microcontroller will be going to damage. It can't sustain input greater than 5 volt. Generally we are saying 5 volt DC, right? Or again, if there is ADC, analog to digital converter, the applied small AC signal that should get converted into DC, and then we can utilize that microcontroller. So all these conversions, which are the requirement of your microcontroller, is known as a signal conditioning in general. Remember, right? So see, Next, you have to measure how much is the applied voltage to the load. That means you have to connect one step down transformer across that load. That means the applied voltage to the load is equals to the primary voltage of transformer, that step down transformer, and there will be a step down AC voltage. Now convert that step down AC voltage into DC, okay, and apply it now as an input to your microcontroller. In your program, just give one table to it. If applied DC voltage is, for example, 4 volt, then how much will be the primary current, AC? Okay, that table you have to create. Then if the sense voltage by your microcontroller is 4.1, that means how much is the input AC voltage of that transformer, and same will be the voltage of load, is it, as transformer is connected in parallel to the load with the same supply voltage, that is 230 volt RMS. If it is of 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, like this, you can assign that number of steps, right? When you will increase that number of steps, it will go on to measure the voltage more precisely, and if number of steps are less, then the precision will get somewhat decrease or degrade. Okay. Similarly, just connect one CT through that coil of your, or the wire which is connected to the coil of your fan. Just pass that wire through our CT. One resistor is connected, already I told, across that CT, secondary of CT. Again, the same AC voltage you can convert into DC and again apply it as a second input to your microcontroller. So pin number, suppose 1, that will be going on to measure what? How much is the voltage applied to the load. Pin number 2, that will be going on to indicate and display how much is the current taken by your load. So here we taken the example of fan, means whenever it will be operated at speed 1, the current consumed by the fan or current given to the fan, it will be minimum. Am I right? When it will be switched to speed 2, that means fan speed will get increased. That means the current given to the or passed to the motor of that fan is increased. That means the primary current of your CT, it is in increase in nature, and that's why the obtained current across obtained current through the secondary of that CT and the obtained voltage drop across the secondary of that CT, it also will goes on increasing. Am I right? At pin number 1, if that 230 volt is constant, then at pin number 1 the DC voltage available will be constant. If there is fluctuation in supply voltage, instead of 230, if it goes to 200 volts, then 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, then and then there will be variation in voltage at pin number 1. Otherwise, if it is a regulated AC power supply without any harmonics or without any noise, then that supply voltage will go on to remain constant as a 230 volt RMS. That means the applied DC voltage to pin number 1, it will go on to remain as a constant, and that's why on that LCD display you will get the load voltage as a constant, while at second row of your LCD, it will be dependent on what, at what speed you are operating the fan. If it is at 1, then the current measure, it will be very small. If it is at 2, the indicated current will be somewhat more than that of previous, like this, is it? So what is the purpose of this CT and PT in this application? We use this CT and PT to sense the load voltage as well as to sense how much is the current consumption by that load, and it is indicated on that LCD. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Are you getting it 100%? What is CT and PT and their applications? Or we can call them as sensors also, to sense the supply voltage or any voltage, AC voltage, as well as to sense the AC currents consumed by the load. So I think you might have understood about the transformer. So here we will wind up transformer, and in summary, again, what is that transformer, transformer types, construction, working, and applications. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
So I will stop my screen sharing and will expect two questions from your side. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, we will wind up our lecture, and in next lecture, we'll continue with the next topic related to that, linear power supply. So this is the first part of that linear power supply, and already I told what is the mm, use of that transformer, or how you can think this transformer in terms of being an entrepreneur after your graduation. Okay.